Hello, everyone. How are you this morning? I hope everybody's doing well. We're so happy to be back here for a little creativity snack. And so today I have here my mug, which I brought because we bring yummy things. So I hope you've all brought something yummy with you. This is my cup. This is Sandra Boynton. Is that how you say her name? I think that's how you say
I
her name,
think so.
right? She's one of my favorite artists. I just love like her hippos make me happy. But this one is like the little cat guy. Isn't that so cute? And it's like, you're one in a million. Jen, you're one in a million.
Aw, you are too, Tash. So are you, viewers.
So are
Hey,
you.
friends. I brought
And what
my water today. I loved your idea last week. Just the importance of hydration. So I'm going with water, but I have to use a cap when I
right.
have water in my office because my cats will stick their paws in my water to get it. It's a real problem when I'm painting too because they're like, and they want to lick it. And I'm like, don't drink the paint water. So I'm trying to train them and I have to train myself. Like if I don't want a cat paw in my water, don't worry at home. Yeah. It's a thing.
I love that. I really love that. In fact, it brings up yesterday, I was painting and I had my little watercolor set open and I had my glass of water and my little jar of water. And I don't know if you've done this, but the painting and then you dip it in your water. And I'm like, great, okay, yeah. So I get the whole cat bathing thing because apparently my brush likes to do it in my own water
Yeah,
when I'm
yeah. So
painting
you
too.
need in your studio, right? Like
Yes,
the cup
yes.
with the lid. I've seen it, and I thought it was brilliant. Like mugs where like one says paint water and one says not paint water. So it's just like, don't get it mixed up. Yeah,
I
I'm
love
sure
that.
like every person who's ever picked up a paintbrush and had their coffee or water sitting nearby has had this experience.
Yes,
So
exactly.
I mean, this is an important creative tip. Put a lid
It is.
on your water.
Exactly. On what you actually want to ingest, you need to
Yes.
cover that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Lesson for the day.
Tip number one. um, I have a story I want to share,
I'm
and
curious.
it's just random and came to me this morning, and because we're laughing right now, it's reminding me of it of talking about it. But it's been in my head all morning, so I'm just gonna go ahead and share it because I feel like
Please.
I need to. Um, so this is a few months ago, and I was down at the post office, right near where I live, and it's a small post office, and so there's only a couple people usually that are in there, and like if they're not at the desk and waiting for you, then there's sometimes a little bell that you could ring to like let them know you're outside and you need to do some stuff. And so I go in and I look around, they're not there, and I sort of hear voices in the distance. Like I know they're in the back somewhere. And I look around and there's another woman who's in there with me. She is like was doing something and then we're both sort of standing there and I looked at her and I was like, there was a bell, right? I'm not crazy. And so like, no, there was, there's a bell here. And we're both looking around and we can't find it. And we're like, all right. And we kind of now it strikes me that neither one of us wanted to yell back and be like, hey, hello, we're here, like we do. And we might have even said something along those lines, like didn't want to yell back and scream, we're here. So we're chatting for a couple minutes and she goes, what if we just start laughing? And I was and it was such a brilliant idea, but again, it was one of those like, you mean just like, and I did that. And then she was like, yes. And she's like, ah. And then she did it, so I did it louder. And it's this ridiculous laughing that led to serious belly laughing. Like we were legitimately laughing so hard that we had tears in our eyes and the people came forward. Like, we were like, what's going on out here? And it was incredible because it was like I tried to keep myself together then, like, doing all the things I had to do, but I was still laughing. And more people came in. And when I went to turn around, she had been trying to do the same thing. Like she was trying to hold her laughter, but then we both started laughing and then other people started laughing. It was this really beautiful, ridiculous moment in the post office that left me, I was so happy for the rest of the day.
Oh,
Like
wow.
I couldn't stop. Like I just laughed and shared that story with like everybody that I ran into. And as I tell it right this second, it reminds me of another story really quickly. I was at a retreat in Arizona. I was with a friend, and afterwards, we went to this other person's ranch that had horses, all these horses on it. And so you went into the area where the horses were, and they were all around us, and they were beautiful, huge, big horses, small horses, and the woman whose ranch this was like, all right, we're going to do something. She's like, close your eyes. And I want you to think of something that makes you feel stressed out or makes you feel upset in some way. So with eyes closed, we all thought of something. And she said, now I want you to open up your eyes. And when I opened up my eyes, the horses were so far. They were so far from us. Like it's at the
Hmm.
farthest reaches that they could have gone. And she said, now I want you to close your eyes and picture somebody that you love just with all of your heart and soul. And so I closed my eyes and I'm thinking about the person, people in my life that I love so deeply. And all of a sudden I felt a breath right here. And I opened up my eyes and it was a horse. The head was right there. And she was like, you know, animals respond to how we're feeling and those emotions that we put out. And it was incredible because it the two stories side by side as I'm telling you this right now made me think of like the woman laughing in the post office with me drew the people in the back, granted it's what they do, but drew them out to find out what the laughter was about, and there was a joy in the exchange. um, the animals came to us when we were our feeling of love was so big, and it just makes me think of in our world right now. I was looking really hard for a comedy the other night to watch because I need that at the end of the day. Like, I need to laugh. And I was thinking how hard it is, or how there's been a lack of laughter recently, I think, in our world, and a lack of ability to laugh at ourselves, even more so. And I think that creativity really, really often needs the ability to laugh at ourselves, but with love. And
Hmm.
I that is what those two stories together feel like for me, and what I wanted to share with you and with our amazing viewers this morning. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Like,
Wow. So many things, actually. I think one of the first things that came to me, like as you were telling this story, thinking about the fact that you shifted, from any sort of feeling of maybe even frustration at like, wait, like nobody's here to help me. They should be here. What do I do? To that joy state of laughter and connection, right? You were connecting with another human being in that moment when the two of you like formed this devious plan to laugh and get their attention. But that connection, with somebody else, and that shifting into a joy state that became a natural joy state, right? Like you were saying,
yeah,
it was like forced in the beginning, but
totally.
when we shift into um that joy space, right? Like you said, they were doing their job, but at the same time, we invite what we are looking for in our lives into our lives, right? It's like the answers come more quickly to us when we're in a joy state, when we're in a space of openness and receptivity, when we're in spaces where we feel closed down, where we feel frustrated, where we're anxious, we are much more likely to stay closed to any answers coming to us, anybody coming to our aid, right? Whether that's, the universe sharing messages with us, or it's, somebody else coming, to literally answer the bell, the invisible
Yes,
bell
yes.
that we're needing. And the animals, the horses in your experience, they mirror that, right? So they're like, we can say, right? Oh, well, when you raise yourself to, excuse me, to like a higher vibration, you draw things to you, or that other people can feel that when you do that, and that can feel like just a theory,
Mhm.
unless you've had it happen. And I feel like your experience with the horses is such a clear experience of that happening,
Yeah.
where it's like when you shift your energy, it's palpable.
Yeah.
Other people can feel it. And when we can, through laughter, through creativity, through whatever you employ, I enjoy doing meditation to center myself. When we can stay focused in those things, then we are not only helping ourselves connect to, that which we're wanting the people to answer the bell, whatever that
Right.
is that we're asking of life. But it also affects the people around us. It legitimately has an effect on those around us. And so as we raise our energy into that joy state or into a space of, openness and that, heart center, then we are inviting that experience for other people around us as well. And it's contagious. It's contagious like laughter is contagious. Even the
Yeah.
people who walked in and had no idea why you guys were laughing with you,
Yeah. It is. It's something that, do you find it in your practice where, um, if I sit down and I am aware of, uh, I love this idea, and it's in this conversation of like who will answer the bell, of that coming to the page with a question, or even in walking and doing a meditation and things like that, coming to those experiences, does it often shift your energy? Like, I know often after I'm finished creating or something, sometimes things will stay with me and I'll still be sort of going over in my mind, but there is a complete shift from start to finish of energy, and then how I connect with the rest of the world, my family, my friends, just
Mhm.
being outside. Do you find that in yours?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And when you say practice, it's like my mind wants to go, okay, describe that. What do you mean by practice? And so I'm going to say how I'm taking that
Hmm.
is twofold. Is my creative practice.
Yeah.
It's putting pen to page and writing in my journal. It is typing on my laptop. It is getting out my paintbrushes and painting. It is the practice of keeping an art journal, which is like my messy, just get the emotions on the page or process ideas, taking the question to the page and processing. And then the other piece of practice that I'm hearing in that is spiritual practice. So meditation, for me, hiking, walking, right, connecting with nature are also forms of that practice that grounds me and keeps me feeling that sense of connection to something greater than me,
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
else out there. And yeah, I feel like in any form of practice, when I'm doing the practice,
Mhm.
um, even if it's messy art, like the messy, just to get it off my chest and onto the page. Um, it usually does have this sense of transforming, right? It takes me from wherever I am in my like day to day humanness, that experience, and all of these practices, spiritual, creative, I would say put me in this space of being in the flow. And that flow state is a present moment awareness, and it's where I'm tapping into this energy that's bigger than
Yeah.
me, my physicalness. And in having that experience, it could be, 10 minutes, it could be 20 minutes, it could be an hour of practice. That on the other side of practice, I always feel like I am approaching life from a different perspective, from this level of connection, of inner peace. Again, even if it was the messy art, like I still am left with peace at the end of it. And yeah, not unlike your laughter moment, where you left the post office transformed and then
Yeah.
you were walking as a different creative being than you were when you went in.
Absolutely.
And, and I think that's what any form of practice that enters us into the flow can do.
That's so interesting. I love that. There's Oh, there's so much I want to say from that. I feel like it could be another snack. Um,
Go get cookies, everyone.
yeah, exactly. Cake, brownies, whatever. It is. What would you say to folks that you wanted to, folks who are listening now and later, um, this idea of it feels twofold for me. Practice is something like I'm doing every day, and I know I'm noticing that by doing a practice every single day, and that means creatively, well, both spiritually, I guess you could say, because I am meditating every day. I am creating every day a piece of art of some kind. Um, has really transformed the way that I exist in the world and continues to. But the connection piece is what I'm thinking about. It helps me to connect with myself. But in those moments, I think so often as adults in the world, we like go out, we do our business, we're like, we're in our zone, we're in our head. We don't always necessarily, we're not looking to, connect with the people around us. We're riding a train or riding a bus. We're like in our zone, we're on our phone, we're reading, we have our earbuds in. Um, what would you say to leave people with as like, both practice and connection piece that people could maybe practice till we meet again next week? What would your thoughts be on that?
Mm. Well, I think one of the things that comes to mind is the quote by Pablo Picasso, um, art washes from the soul the dust of everyday life. And I love this idea. I so love this idea of like, taking the mental like feather duster, to your entire being and clearing things off. And I think it's true, of creative practice. I think it's true of spiritual practice. It just shifts us, right? I went for this long hike yesterday in the woods. It was just so beautiful. And I felt that transformation and recognizing that um, when we do the practice and we allow ourselves to be in that space, then we're naturally, right? When we're not carrying all of this extra stuff, the dust of life, we can be more present to other people. Um, and I think, as with your laughter, like a smile is one of the quickest, easiest ways to connect with somebody. So I would say do your practice, do your inner, personal dusting, and then after that practice, find somebody to smile at.
Hmm.
Whether it's somebody in your home, somebody on the street, take yourself for a walk, just have that moment of connection. And I feel like when we do those little things, it begins to open up and open up and open up, and it becomes a practice of connection.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think you said that beautifully. And I would add to that, and this is definitely another nugget. Write it down. Um, the noticing, right? The art of noticing. I think we notice when we are more present after we do. When I do my practice, I'm more present after. And when I'm out in the world, it just makes me notice people more. So that noticing, like, and being able to take a risk. Maybe you're in a shared situation, where like the
Mm.
post office, something happened somewhere, and you share just even that look, like the raised eyebrows, something if something happens and it makes somebody else laugh. Like it's that moment is just like the laughing in the post office. It's so, it just reminds us of our humanity, and I think it brings us home to ourselves and to the realization that so many of us we're very similar on a lot of levels. We really do get each other on a lot of levels, even when we don't think we do. So
Yeah.
maybe take the risk and make a funny gesture or notice something, have a shared experience that maybe doesn't even need any words with people. Um, could kind of be cool.
Yeah. I think that's
And
a
I think
beautiful nugget.
I think we'll leave everyone with that today. What do you
All
say?
right. Yes.
All right.
Go forth, create, and smile.
And smile. Try to find some laughter too. All right. Thank you to everybody who's been here today. You're amazing, magical, wonderful human beings. And to everybody who's going to be watching later, wishing you the most beautiful day. If you have an adventure and something happens, please feel free to share with me and with Jen. We love to hear stories about what's happening in your creative hearts and what happens in your world. Take care.
Absolutely. Be blessed.
Bye.